Hi, my name is Krista, and I'm an Interpretive Naturalist with the Elkhart County Parks. I'm super excited to be introducing and talking about the very next animal we're highlighting in our Nature A to Z series. We're on the letter E, and for E, we're going to talk about the Eastern Hognose snake. Now, the Eastern Hognose snake is a fantastic little snake that we actually have quite a few of here within Elkhart County, and they have some amazing physical and behavioral adaptations that we'll talk about. Now, I have one right here. This is one of our program snakes that we use to take around and do some education throughout the county, but this is an Eastern Hognose. You can see it fits right in the palm of my hand. It has dry, scaly skin because it is a reptile, and that scaly skin helps to protect it in many ways. Also, it's great camouflage. You see the markings? Now, every Eastern Hognose doesn't look the same. Some of them have kind of different coloration, different patterns. There are even some that have more of a solid coloring to them, but this is a pretty typical coloration pattern for an Eastern Hognose. The Eastern Hognose snake is actually a diurnal snake, meaning it is active during the day, in which it can be found in wooded habitats, maybe prairie habitats, and they are in search of probably their favorite food, which happens to be toads. Toads make up 75% of their diet, which is incredible, and they are perfectly built for hunting toads. Let me show you a few reasons why. So number one, you see their tongue flicking out there? All snakes flick their tongue out, and that is not them sticking their tongue out at you, teasing you. They are actually smelling their surroundings. Now, they don't do it like we do, where we use our nose. They put their tongue out. It is forked to help gather scents, brings them back into their mouth. On the roof of their mouth, there is a special organ called a Jacobson's organ. This allows them to process what those scents are and to know, is it food? Is it danger? What should I do? It helps to guide their behavior and their response. That is how they find the toads. And they've got pretty good eyesight too. They can see things pretty well. So they're going to go after that movement. Now, another thing that they have that some other snake species do not have, which perfectly allows them to hunt toads, is in the back of their mouth, they have rear teeth. These rear teeth allow them to kind of counteract one of the toad's natural defense behaviors. So I don't know if you've ever picked up a toad before, but if you pick up a toad, sometimes they pee on you, but sometimes they kind of puff up a little bit, making themselves seem a little bit bigger. They also do that when they're in the mouth of a hognose snake. And that's one way to help protect them from being swallowed, because a hognose snake will swallow them whole. Now, if they're too big, the hognose can't physically manage it. So they have these rear teeth to help actually kind of puncture it, to kind of deflate the toad a little bit and help it to be swallowable. And very effective, very effective. Then their digestion kicks in, and it's absolutely amazing how their digestion works. They don't have to eat every day like you and I. They can eat maybe once every couple weeks. It depends on how big this toad was. They will also eat frogs and salamanders and other things, but their digestion works fairly slowly through the esophagus, like what you and I have, and spends a little bit of time there kind of starting to break down. Once it hits their stomach, they have incredibly acidic stomach acid that actually allows them to break down the bones of the animals that they eat. Something that's pretty incredible. It goes through their system, and when they have to go to the bathroom, they do. They actually have a little opening right here where they would go to the restroom. Everything from here down is actually considered its tail, and they have a similar digestive system to what we do. It's just incredible. It is also named hognose because of one of its physical features that I'm going to show you here. So I don't know if you can see its nose, but it kind of turns up like a hog, kind of like a hog. And it's perfectly built that way so that it can burrow down into the ground, maybe going to where its favorite food is hidden. The Eastern Hognose snake actually is known probably more often by some of its nicknames. I'm going to tell you two of them and explain where those came from. The Eastern Hognose snake has some pretty interesting theatrical defense behaviors, which we'll go into, but that's where their nicknames come from. It's based on these incredible behaviors, kind of unexpected behaviors, and ones that not a lot of local snakes here in Elkhart County have, but the hognose does. So the first nickname would be the spreading viper. Now, I have to say first off, the Eastern Hognose snake is not a viper. It does not belong to the viper family at all. It is a completely different group. However, it does have similar behaviors or posturing when it feels threatened, as you would think of like a cobra. The Eastern Hognose does not have venom, but it has these similar behaviors, which turn out they're pretty effective in deterring a predator. And so why not use them, right? So one of the things it does, like you can see in this short little video that I did, is when they're startled, they kind of flatten out the sides of their head. They actually pull air in and push it out, making a hissing sound, arching their neck or their back to make themselves look wider on the top. It makes them look a little scarier in hopes that it scares away a predator. Spreading viper, they spread their heads. They kind of have similar behaviors as members of the viper family. That's where that nickname came from. Another really common nickname is called a puff adder. Now, an adder is kind of a nickname for venomous snakes, which an Eastern Hognose is not venomous. They're not a venomous snake. They pose no danger to humans whatsoever. And the puff part comes into play when you think about how they intake the air when they're threatened and they force it out, and it makes this hissing or puffing sound. That's how they get that nickname. Now, last but not least, their last theatrical defensive behavior is they can play dead. And they do this if they're truly startled, truly stressed out, truly feel threatened. And it turns out it's a very effective defense mechanism, one that we know the possum does to great effect. It rolls over, mouth hanging open, tongue hanging out, playing dead, hopefully deterring the predator. This is a very common, well-known defensive behavior that an Eastern Hognose snake has, and a highly effective one. Now, I have to say, despite their incredibly theatrical defense display, they are one of the least likely to bite. They sometimes will even strike with their mouth wide open, or even with their mouth closed. Again, another defensive behavior, but really not a danger to humans at all, or pets, or anything like that. They pretty much stick to themselves, looking for those yummy toads to eat. And if we see one, the best thing to do is leave it alone. You can even watch it from a distance. They're fascinating creatures to learn about and to understand better. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you stick around for the letter F coming next. But also, stay tuned to our Facebook page as we're going to post some more little tidbits and fun little facts about the Eastern Hognose snake. Thanks for watching.